Hello, everybody. I'm Super Productions, and this is
Hi, I'm Marcus.
also known as Siactro. He's a game developer who specializes in N64 style games. So, for the viewers who don't know you, who are you?
I'm basically just like your normal, nerd who likes to play or who like to play N64 and PlayStation and stuff. And yeah, it's been a while since those consoles been around, so I kind of try to make my own games now to continue playing those games, basically.
So,
You know.
what got you on the idea to do N64 specifically? Cuz was it like a nostalgia thing, or what was the
Mm, that's a bit of it's a bit of a combination of things. I always wanted to make games, and I also wanted to make them 3D, but I was like super bad at 3D because I don't know, you play a game and you try to figure out how certain things have been made, how they were built or whatever. But like, I mean, I don't know, right? It's just complicated. But with like N64 games or something where I can literally count the polygons, right, and see like, oh, okay, this uh, uh, um bump basically is supposed to be a hand or whatever. It's like your brain starts to kind of work around that almost like it's I don't know, like it's 3 point Lego pieces or whatever, right? And so I tried out that, and it worked way better than making trying to make normal 3D models, like simpler ones. And then there was like I don't exactly remember when it was. I think it was 2013 or 14 or whatever. There were like these mumblings and these rumors about a potential spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, which at the time didn't happen. And that just bumped me out extremely. So I was like, you know what? I just try to make my own. Well, not a spiritual successor, but something Banjo Kazooie N64-ish, and that's when I made the first Kiwi, and it just felt good to work on that. Like it was, well, it wasn't easy, and I I wouldn't say I nailed it, but it was. I could get into this, like I could get behind how all of this worked, and even though it still was hard, it made sense to me, unless other things like normal 3D or modern 3D or whatever. So that's basically how I got into it. So like at this point, it's less nostalgia and more like this is the kind of thing I know how to do. So I like, yeah, and how to use effectively and to do like maybe cool little things with. So that's basically what I continue to do because it's fun.
So, which one of your projects is your current favorite if you had to pick one?
Um, Favorite in terms of playing it or favorite in terms of how much fun it was to make?
Um, let's start with how much fun it was to make.
That's definitely Beanie, like the only 2D game I currently have on Steam. Simply because like from start to finish, it was just it was fun. There was no big hurdles, no I don't know how to do this, no time crunch, no nothing. It was just such a fun experience just to work on it and finish it comfortably in time and whatnot. And also there was no pressure behind it because it was like a little side thing. It doesn't matter if like one person buys it or not, right? Who cares? It was just really fun.
Yeah,
Um,
Beanie's actually my favorite game you've made.
maybe that's why, because I could just like go all out and don't feel just do whatever really. Um, in terms of playing, I do like to play Beanie a lot. Also the first story, but like when I want to play something for like literally a minute or two while waiting for I don't know my coffee machine to make me coffee or whatever. Um, I sometimes do play my own games because I'm quick and I know where to go and whatnot. And Beanie and the first story are basically the two games that I Oh yeah, a lot really. But the most fun for me to play is I think Super Kiwi, really. At least the first half of it, like the forest and the desert, because I don't know. I feel like the whole atmosphere with the music just works really well. Not thanks to me, mostly thanks to the music. But hey, I still like it.
Yeah, the soundtracks in your games are always fantastic. Definitely.
And I have zero credit for that. Like it's just because I by pure accident I met like really cool people who know how to do music,
Oh yeah,
which is
yeah.
cool.
I've talked to the person who did vocals in one of the Tori 2 songs, and they did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jess, Sayona, yeah, definitely. That was actually also like a funny story. Like I talked to her about voicing the character just because like she had some examples, and one of those examples just fit perfectly. Like that's how this bird, like a bird with like a young bird with sunglasses would sound to me. I don't know. And then by pure accident, I saw that she's also doing vocals, and I checked some of the stuff out, and was just amazing. And then I showed it to my like the composer of Tori 2, and he was like, "Oh my god, yes, let's totally ask her if she wants to do some vocals on the song."
Yeah. So, what's your opinion on like the success that specifically Tori, but all of your games have had? Because Tori's in like various top 10 lists of 3D platformers and other stuff.
Oh, is it? Okay. Um, I I really don't know. Like when Tori 3D got got that attention it got, it was just like, to be fully honest, I still don't fully understand what people like about it, or why they enjoyed it. But I mean, I'm not questioning it. I try to learn from it and see what worked and what didn't. But I really don't know. I mean, I'm happy. I'm really happy about it. But I think there are way better games. Maybe it's the price.
No, yeah, definitely. I think it's the $1 price, which I'm gonna ask about in a second. And also the movement feels amazing in both Tori 1 and 2. And the fact that it was on Switch and Steam day one also definitely made an impact there. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I
just
guess so.
overall a really enjoyable product. So yeah. So why did you pick the $1 price tag? What's that about?
So I need to go a bit back for that. I'm sorry. So the second 3D platform I made, Macbat 64, I think it was 2017 when I released it, and I released it on Steam. It was like $5, and during the first week or weekend, it sold around like 300 copies or something, which was actually a bummer to me, right? Like I don't know. I hoped it would sell more. Um, and like later, my now friend and Switch publisher, just wrote me out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, do you want to, port Macbeth to Switch?" And I was working on something else during the time, and I was like, "I mean, yeah, sure, if you manage to get it on Switch, because it was like this super old version of Unity, and it was buggy, and like every attempt of me to port it to a newer version just broke the entire game." So I sent it to him, and he managed to get it running on Switch within a week, and that was really cool. And then we talked about release, and I was like, I mean, when I first released this, it was $5, but by now I changed the price to $2, because I don't know, it's been a while, and I figured it made sense to permanently reduce the price, and I didn't want it to be unfair to people, so I said, let's do it $2, even though at the beginning on PC it was 5, and we did, and it sold. I don't quite remember how much, but it sold significantly more on that first weekend on Switch for those $2 than it did for $5 on Steam back in 2017. And that was like completely surprising to me. I mean, usually when you see, a game for a small price, it's like, oh, this is some throwaway shovelware or whatever. And I figured, let's try this again. Let's make a game that would be, done quicker for maybe even a lower price, just to see how far this, how far this can be pushed. So the first Tori was actually done in 4 months, and I was, he asked me like several times if we really should do it for like $1, but I was like, yeah, I mean, let's try it. It's been, it's been 4 months. If it doesn't work out, who cares? It was it was an experiment, but it did, luckily. So that's basically how I came up with the whole $1 thing, and just by pure luck, it worked, and because the right people saw it, actually.
Yeah, definitely the price tag made it easy, because I remember when I heard about it from I think some Nintendo oriented news YouTube channel, Nintendo Life or something. And
yeah, they made a video that blew up.
And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna get this. And then the whole, I don't know if you know, but if you, with Switch physical copies, you get like coins, which you can redeem for money, like not a ton. And so I just bought Tori with the money I had from that, and had a blast.
Yeah.
And I got Tori 2 day 1, Beanie day 1, and Super Kiwi day 1. And
I mean, thank you.
Yeah. I also tried to play the DLC for Super Kiwi, and just wasn't a fan. It just didn't feel right. But that's the only one of your projects that I've had anything bad to say about. The rest of them are all amazing, fantastic games. And for the price, like, I would pay like $10 for like Macbat 64 and Kiwi 64 especially. I think is 100% worth like that price. So the amount you charge for them is like amazing. Yeah, so just overall just yeah. And how does it feel that, because there was I think it was last year, there was physical copies of Toree and Macbat in a collection?
Yeah, there was this 4-game collection where Macbat and Tori were part of. I gotta be fully honest with you. I don't have many feelings towards this because, like, I wasn't too involved in this. Basically, the way it went, I always say like Switch publisher, but in reality, it's basically another indie dev who is just doing. Exactly, yeah.
They're amazing. I love all their games.
Yeah,
Regina and Mac is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and by now he's doing like Switch ports for all these small games, which it's super cool. I'm so happy that basically he turned into a way for smaller devs to release their games on Switch without like weird publishing deals or whatever, I mean, especially nowadays.
Yeah, because me and him have talked for a while, and he's really nice. And I didn't realize it was just one dude until I talked to him. I thought it was like actual just a company. But no,
I know, because at the beginning. Sorry, yeah, go on.
It's just one dude, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. At the beginning, he always wrote, like, in official stuff, he wrote "we" and stuff, which is like, wait, how many people are you? It's basically, basically just him. I mean, at the beginning, like, for Regina and Mac, there were more people involved. So that's why, most of the stuff that's online about him was always like, oh, we do this, or we like to publish, or whatever, right? And now it's more or less him. And So yeah, there's a bit of confusion, but yeah, like he's super cool. And yeah, right. Anyway, I I know what I was saying. Um, so when you contacted me and we talked about Macback back in the day, um, it was super chill. It was like, hey, um, if I managed to get this on Switch, would you be fine with this super generic way of? I mean, I can't go into detail, right? But how we share revenue and stuff, and like, yeah, sure. I mean, whatever. It's just for fun. And then he asked, like, hey, would it also be okay if I take like those two games and together with like Regina and Mac and something else, try to get this published on a physical cartridge, because like this was like his passion project. He really really wanted to have like a physical cartridge of Regina and Mac that he could put on his shelf, which I totally get 100%. It's like it's a thing for the bucket list. So I was like, of course, take it, find like you know whoever is willing to publish this as a collection or whatever, and that's basically how that came along. So it's more like his thing, more his project, and more like his passion project. And it's just like I threw these two games in there, so the publisher was like, okay, fine, we do it, because those are all small games, so it makes sense that there should be some meat to validate actually making these cartridges. So yeah, I don't really feel much about about this release, other than it was a way I could help him get this done, so that's cool.
Yeah, I bought that the day I found out it came out because I love Regina and Mac. Well, actually, I didn't play Regina and Mac at the time. I didn't own it. But now I do after playing it on the cartridge, and I had already purchased Toree and Macbat because they're just fantastic games. So, really good collection there. Yeah, of games on that cartridge. So, there's a new Tori game coming out, Tori Saturn.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What made you go for the Sega Saturn aesthetic? Because I love the Sega Saturn.
um I'm not like I'm honestly not sure. So the thing, um I just started working on it. Originally, it was supposed to be Tori Genesis DX, like just Tori Genesis with like more stuff in it. Um, but then something happened that I can't go into yet that made me be like, okay, I'll make this a completely new thing. And I think at the beginning I was going for more of a Dreamcast look. I was trying to see if I could pull that off, but it just basically, while working on it, it kind of just turned into the same low poly thing. And but the colors were brighter. For some reason, I used brighter but also more saturated colors. Like in Tori 3D and Tori 2, basically everything is pink, and in this one, it's like there's more blue, there's more orange, more stuff that works together. And I don't know, for some reason, it just kind of looks more like a Sega Saturn game, like what Sega would do during that era. And there's also a reason why the game is named Saturn that has nothing to do with the Sega Saturn actually, but it just kind of fell into place like this. It's like, okay, this is just like this is a Sega Saturn game now. Okay, fine. I just roll with it. So there is no real reason, because it wasn't an active decision. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, like Tori like the Sega Saturn's one of my favorite consoles along with the N64. Just because I love the low poly art style, but yeah,
Same.
the Saturn was obscure, so I love
Hmm.
the reference to it, so very very good there. So what after Tori Saturn? What's like the future of like what are you making next or
Um, I will probably make another Tori after this. Like, not immediately, because this game has been in development for a while, actually. Like, the first uh, planning stages was before Kiwi, like Super Kiwi was released, actually. Like, some September that year or whatever. Um, so, once this is done and released, I will definitely make something smaller, maybe another 2D game, just to, cleanse the palate a bit.
Beanie too.
And it, maybe, probably not. Probably not yet. Like, I want to do more Beanie because, like I said, it was super fun to work on, but I need the right idea, inspiration for it because, the game already
Beanie
exists. So,
64
oh yeah, I tried that. It didn't work out, unfortunately.
didn't work out. Do you have any screenshots of that?
No, not really. It was just a quick, a developer art or like Unity art thing, or not even prototype, just like a quick test to see, hey, would this idea I had work? No, it feels horrible. All right, and at some point, I think I even deleted the test. Like it was just a
It was
gray sphere rolling around. That was it, and it didn't feel good at all. So.
yeah.
Unfortunately, no. I do have a few ideas, but I will just see what happens when I release Tori Saturn. Maybe I start with the next Tori immediately. I don't know, but there's definitely gonna be a second one because the whole gameplay changed now, and even the character model changed, and just like with the first Tori, I wanna milk this as far as I can. No, it's like when I'm done, I'm gonna start collecting all these ideas that I couldn't use in this one for one reason or another, and then I just make a second one. That's exactly what happened with the first time around. So
Tori Ultimate.
probably something with a planet like Tori Jupiter or something. So it's gonna be like the Tori Planet series or some cheesy stuff like that.
Ooh, yeah, Tori Jupiter would be good. I like that. And then you can do what Atari did and do cats. Tori Jaguar.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
That'd
That
be,
might be a bit confusing, though.
yeah, I know. I'm not saying you should seriously do that. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Tori Puma.
That would be hilarious. So Tori's in a Smash Bros. Style game called Cross Impact. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah, true. They just wrote me on Twitter one day and were like, "Hey, would it be cool if we put Tori in this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." That's it.
That's it.
I just think the idea was cool. Yeah, and I also uh when I read that message, I thought how cool it would be to tell people that they can beat up Tori if they want to. So I was desperately waiting for a release, so I could tell people they can beat up Tori if they want to beat up Tori, which I did. That tweet exists.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can. Technically, you can beat up Tori as Jumbo Josh or the guy from Pizza Tower.
Yeah, and some musician, I think, or maybe it's just an assist thing. I don't really know. I played it one time in like some early alpha thing, and that's basically it. Not because I don't like it or anything, just because I'm, super busy all the time. Unfortunately, I barely play games nowadays. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So there's a kind of a light horror aspect to a lot of your games. What's
Yeah.
what's that about? It scares me every time I go back to play them. Yeah, I don't expect it because because it doesn't ever go full on horror, but it has the occasional like jump scare.
Yeah. That's just because I'm weird. I don't know. No, like when I no, I was going to say when I made the first Tori, but that's nonsense. It was there before. I think it actually started in Macbat.
Yeah, because there's some
Um
actually horrifying stuff in Macbat. Like,
yeah. like that thing that chases you through this Japanese styled house and whatnot.
Yeah, that
Um,
like that's just out of nowhere. I love it though. I respect it.
there's actually a reason for that because um, there's this indie game called Band Memories something. Band Memories Yamanashi, I think. And it's one of my favorite indie games. It's still not finished. It's it's like it's basically a Silent Hill, Resident Evil kind of thing, and it was so good. And it like the first demo came out when I was working on Macbat, and I couldn't shake this whole horror thing out of my head. So this level basically comes from me admiring that game so much. And just I just wanted to do something like that myself. That's also why there are these the camera angles. The camera is not free flowing, but like you have these angles like in Resident Evil and Silent Hill. But like for horror itself, it's kind of like when I was a kid and I played those games, like N64 platformers and stuff. Um, there was always like this, oh, I wonder what's behind this door or that or whatever, right? And it always felt like building up some mysteries and some maybe scary stuff, and it never really did, except Super Mario 64 with that eel thing, which still to this day is just beautiful.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. Um, so, or in Ocarina of Time with the skeletons that talk to you and stuff. Um, so yeah, it's basically that. Like, I just want to, how to say this, like, make the game world feel like there's also some stuff in there that is a bit terrifying without going as far as to actually scare people or make them frightened or whatever, because like from what I know now, they're actually like kids who play my games, and I really don't want to scare kids. So I never go too far. Like there have been some ideas for like, oh hey, how about when Tori dies, you see Tori's corpse? And it's like, nah, that's too much. That's just a bit too far, right? Um, but like some skeleton that talk to you, or some weird stuff that just pops out of nowhere to spook you or whatever. Um, I don't know. I like the edge. It kind of feels like you have a meal and you put some spice on top. Basically.
Yeah, do you ever think you'll make like a full on horror N64 style game similar to Shipwrecked 64?
Um, I'm not sure. Like, I always like from time to time I have ideas for it, for something like it, like not one game, but like always a new idea. But on the one hand, there's already so much cool PlayStation and N64 horror stuff out there right now, um, and also it feels like I have more ideas that would suit short spooky moments and less a full-on game or whatever where you have a story or where you have to explore stuff or whatnot. It's always I always have like ideas for short spicy moments basically when it comes to horror, but never something fundamental, something big. So maybe at some point, but I'm not sure.
So in Macbat 64, the guy who made the music for Banjo Kazooie,
Yeah.
he's in it. How do you pull that off?
um how was it? Well, basically I just wrote him like a super long email because I was hella nervous, right? I was just like, oh, it would be the coolest stuff ever if I can manage to get him in there. Not for the music, because I could never afford that, right? Not saying he's expensive or whatever, but I didn't have any money whatsoever. But maybe like for like just one voice line, right? And I wrote him this email, and I even came up with like 3 different voice lines. so you know, if he says yes, he could choose the one that he feels is the least, I don't know, demeaning or whatever, right? And then I didn't hear from him for a while, and until I actually, I think I tagged him on Twitter or something. It was a bit cringy, to be honest, but it's been months at that point, and I don't know, you know, I basically got scared that I might have offended him with the email, and he just didn't see it. It fell through or whatever, and then he actually answered me via email, and he sent me all 3 lines, like he recorded all 3 of them. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. You know, is it okay if I use all 3 of them? And it was only planned for the demo version. He was like, yeah, sure, whatever, right? And when the full game released, I wrote him again, you know, like, hey, is it okay if I leave them in for the full game? You know, the one that might make me a tiny bit of money. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then again for the Switch version, right? And he just said yes all the time. It was so yeah.
No,
I
I've
just
heard
asked
nothing
him.
but good things about him. I've heard he's really nice.
Yeah, he's like really cool. He's basically the person that got me into eggnog. You know, because he was doing this every Christmas. He's doing these Instagram posts where he just drinks eggnog. It sounds a bit weird if you say it like that, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for the interview. Is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers?
Um, basically, you know, if you want to make games, make games. It's really not hard. You just need to do it.
Actually, like, yeah, you have to. That's one thing. I've been making games in Unreal Engine for around, I don't know, 6 months now. And
Hmm.
the thing that kind of got me going is I just sat down and actually just started doing it.
Yeah,
If you dwell
exactly.
on it, if you dwell on it for so long, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Also, I
just
think. Yeah, go on.
just
Sorry.
definitely like if you want to do it, at least try. And if you're having troubles, there's always YouTube tutorials.
Exactly, and like I mean, you know, the first stuff is always gonna be shit, right? But like, just you know, just go for it, just pull through, and don't expect too much from it. That's basically what I still do. Like at the beginning of every game, I'm just like, I just I just go for it, and when I come to a point where I'm like, okay, this has potential, then you can always fix up stuff, make stuff better, or whatever, right? But just this core, just getting in there, just having something, basically, I feel like um, it is way easier to work when you just have to edit stuff. It's super hard to come up with stuff from the ground up from zero. But if you have something that you can work on, like edit or chuck along or whatever, that's always easier. So that's why I always try to pull through the beginning until I have something that I can actually work with. Even if it's complete shit.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So that's about it for the interview. I hope everybody who watched it had a good time, and I hope you had a good time too. So
Definitely, it
thank you
was
for
fun.
being. Thank you for letting me interview.
Thanks for having me.